Welcome back to another edition of Defending Utah Radio. I'm Ben McClintock, joined in studio with Micah Turner.
It's true, I'm here.
And we are from defendingutah.org, where we think right and wrong, not right and left. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about three red flag bills in this year's Utah legislative session.
Defending Utah covers the stories others are just too often afraid to touch.
They don't nibble around the edges when it comes to pointing out threats to our liberty. They're not afraid to name names and call out organizations.
This is Defending Utah Radio. Defending Utah. Think right and wrong, not right and left. Join Defending Utah, because if you're not already on a government watch list, you should be.
If you like what we do at Defending Utah, please consider becoming a member or making a one-time donation. Also, we've got lots of cool Freedom gear over in the Freedom store at defendingutah.org. And make sure that you download the Defending Utah app onto your Android phone. We get lots of great reviews. Here's a 5-star review that we received. It says, great quality, very informative local content. Utah-focused news that's not afraid to call out questionable policy and action. Great podcast. So thanks so much. If you download the podcast, we'd appreciate it, either it's on Android or if it's on the iTunes, please leave a review as well. But without further ado, let's get to the program. So again, welcome back to another edition of Defending Utah Radio. And today we're going to be talking about these 3 red flag bills. Everybody was all excited because last week, Representative Handy, the one that introduced the red flag bill last year that died, introduced it again this year. And
Handy died?
Don't get too excited.
Oh, dang it. You're just talking about his crappy bill,
his bill
that hates my freedom, aren't you?
I am.
You're not talking about him personally.
No. I'm talking about his legislation.
That's a shame.
He decided to abandon it. Abandon the legislation, and we're like, oh, good. We're free from red flag laws this year because we got great counties like Uinta saying, state legislature, even if you pass it, we're not doing it here. And you've got the city of Duchesne's working on the same thing. And so we're like, okay, this is like dead because nobody wants to go along with it. But boy, oh boy, were we wrong, because not only is it not dead, but it's kind of like Hydra. You kill one, 2 more come back. This is you kill 1, 3 more came back.
You know what I see? This is an excellent opportunity to get rid of 3 legislators.
Well, yes.
That's what I see.
Meaning in the next election, just to be clear.
Right. That's what I meant.
That's what you meant.
That's totally what I meant.
So we've got one. With 2 of them are what the media's been talking about, but there's a third one that nobody's talking about as a red flag bill. The 2 aren't numbered yet that the media's talking about. We've got one by Senator Weiler from Woods Cross, Republican, of course, which is the one that I'm more afraid of, because when a Democrat does it, you're like, whatever, nobody's going to go along with it. They use the Democrat bills to show, hey, Republicans are so much different than those damn Democrats. But and then so when Republican introduces that kind of bill, I'm like, oh, crowd. Because so you got Weiler doing it, and then you've got the other one is from the legislator. I'm trying to look at his name is Joe Briscoe. Sorry, and so the one by Briscoe and the one by Weiler haven't been numbered yet. They're just saying that we've got to do something about this. Briscoe, his quoted as saying, "This is not jackbooted thugs taking people's guns."
That's interesting. We'll look at the legislative language in a little bit, right?
Well, his isn't numbered yet. His isn't numbered yet.
Well, we can be rest assured that it says similar things.
He says this is protecting gun owners from themselves.
Ooh, really? Protect me from myself.
Like, did he go to like Joseph Stalin School 101? It's
what's
insane.
What's that guy's name again?
Joe Briscoe.
Joe Briscoe, you suck. You are a bad man.
He says, oh my gosh. So he says you don't win by quitting. They can't say yes if you don't ask. The legislature. So they're going on, and
anyone who hates due process. Any legislator who hates due process, does anything against it, does anything against the Second Amendment, as well as all the other amendments and freedoms that aren't listed, he's committing sedition.
He's violated his oath of office.
He's violent. Yeah, just by talking about this as legislative something, a possibility, is sedition.
So we've got Todd Weiler doing the other bill. He says that there's other state laws that already prohibit a person from having firearms, that they are subject to protective order. And the question of confiscation under court order is related to that precedent.
No.
This is not a completely novel concept, and in any event, I think it's something that is worthy of debate.
See, they're trying to... He's trying to say that the first thing is okay,
right,
which it's not, and then relate it to the second thing.
Which is even worse than the first thing.
See, and what they always want to do is I hate that term. Well, we just want to talk about it. We just want to have a debate.
No, there's nothing to talk about. Like if you say, let's have a debate about, can I kidnap your kids? No, there's no debate. There's certain things there's no debate.
Yeah, there's no debate. There's no debate. It's illegal.
Can I take away your religion? No, it's not for debate. We're not talking about it.
It's not a discussion to have. No, we're not talking about it.
Second Amendment's the same thing. There's no...
I'll tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how you are committing sedition. That's what we're going to talk about.
So would you like the local police or the state police to come arrest you? That's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm fine with all of them at the same time.
Because you're obviously you're obviously a bloodthirsty tyrant, and so you're going to need as many jackbooted thugs to get you.
Yeah, to come get you, trying to be a jackbooted thug.
It's insane. So we do have one bill. This is the one by Senator Daniel Thatcher, the one that did the thought crimes legislation last year. But so this is SB 87, Firearms Commitment Amendment. So they're going to commit your firearms to the insane asylum. It's not you. We're not going after you.
This is like the civil asset forfeiture where they file charges against an inanimate object. It's like you can't. Oh my gosh! I mean, the nerve of these people. They're just.
This is SB 87, and if you look at you go through the highlighted provisions. This bill provides for circumstances where a cohabitant may commit the firearm of a firearm owner cohabitant. Can we get more confusing? Without the permission of the owner cohabitant.
No, this is exactly like that's worded exactly like civil asset forfeiture because they're not charging the person; they're committing the firearm to whatever
without the owner's permission.
Yeah, so they're saying, well, basically what they're saying is, well, it's a firearm, it's its own person, but it's a thing. You don't own it. Yeah. They're basically saying you don't own this firearm. Right. We're taking it
because you have had no due process. You haven't been charged with a crime, let alone had due process.
Yeah,
they're just having somebody a cohabitant. We'll get into what that means in a second. It's ridiculous, but
it's evil.
Somebody that lives with you can have your property stolen from you without any charges filed against you.
And you
haven't been accused of a crime.
Yeah, if you're just living with somebody. This is in their fantasies. This is part of their fantasy. Their sick fantasy. So
let's see what they define as a cohabitant. A cohabitant is used in this section. A cohabitant means an individual that's over 18 that resides in the home who is living as if a spouse or other cohabitant is related by blood or marriage to the owner cohabitant, has one or more children in common with the owner cohabitant, or has an interest in the safety and well-being of the owner cohabitant.
So basically, cohabitant is somebody with a pulse. That's what it says.
So a living person is considered a cohabitant.
Yeah. So
your brother-in-law that hates you. He couldn't keep his job and he's living in your basement, can have your guns taken from you. And it says that let's go to line 74. It says a law enforcement agency may not return a firearm to the owner cohabitant requesting return of the firearm if the owner cohabitant is the subject of any pending determination that may result in the owner cohabitant becoming a restricted person under section blah blah blah. So this right here is you're not only are you not being accused of a crime, it's saying that if in some time in the future you might become under investigation for maybe violating something, We got to keep the gun away from you.
Yeah, just a pending determination that may result. So if they're just like, well, I think we're going to charge you with this. I mean, we don't know.
Determination that may result, not that that's going to result.
Yeah. It's just basically they just say, oh yeah, we're just going to take your guns. That's what it says. It says your gun is ours. You don't get it. And if you try to enforce the law and keep your weapons and keep due process, we're going to kill you.
This is like under this circumstance, Lavoy Finicum, before he even went to Oregon, for example, would have had his guns taken from him under this provision.
Yeah, and
because he was under quote unquote investigation.
Yeah, and this is and don't worry if you're going to try to enforce the law and you're like, no, I'm not giving you my guns. Go screw yourself. They're going to come in. They're going to kill you, and then the cop that killed you is going to get an award.
Absolutely,
by the end of the year, he'll be the hero for killing you, for murdering you.
So let's go to line 78. Quote, before returning a firearm to an owner cohabitant under subsection 4, a law enforcement agency shall take reasonable measures to verify that the owner cohabitant seeking return of the owner cohabitant's firearm is not the subject of a pending determination described in subsection 6 and is not currently a restricted person. So the first one again, so the police, they have to they have to look into this is kind of it's explaining the subsection 6.
I think that also is saying that if you live with somebody,
right,
then we're also going to take your guns.
Yeah, if somebody in your house, that's what this is applying to.
Yeah.
It's not just you, but it's the person, anybody else in the cohabitant, right, is in the house, is a restricted person.
Yeah. Then
they can't give the non-restricted person their gun back.
Yeah, so they're going to steal your stuff, they're going to steal your roommate's stuff, they're going to steal everything, and they're going to kill you if you don't want it stolen.
If you defend your own private property because there's been no charges, no due process, and if you think this is an extreme statement, no, this has already happened. In other states that have had red flag bills, they have murdered people that decided to say, you know what, I'm not going to let you do this. And I think this is even more extreme than most of the other red flag bills because of the broad range of what it has. And it doesn't even have a judge determining. It's just saying somebody that lives with you wants to have your gun taken away from you.
Yeah, and the law. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that. It's anyone who. Well, it's just anyone who claims to be even concerned about you.
Right.
It goes up there like anyone. What's the language? Go up a little bit. Has an interest in the safety and well-being of the owner cohabitant. So, if your neighbor is like, I am concerned about him, and you should take his guns away. And they just call the cops. And then the cops, this says that the cops, if law enforcement agency receives documentation, meow, 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 subject to, and then there's other things that aren't, isn't there another line that doesn't even say documentation? It's basically just, it doesn't even say what the documentation is.
No, the person coming in, the police have to take the documentation of what the accusation is, and then and the gun's now taken away from the owner, and then before the owner can get their gun back, the cops have to go through all these hoops to be able to even think about doing it. They have to.
So the cops decided that they're going to take the guns away, and then the cops decide if they're going to give you them back, and the cops decide who is and isn't concerned about you, and the cops decide if you are going to be charged with anything.
No judge, no jury, no charges,
nothing. It's just
I think this is the most extreme red flag bill that we've come across.
Law enforcement agency. And remember, compromise is not an option.
There's no discussion.
There's no discussion. There's no compromise to be had here. It's all bad. It's all gone. Just like everything. It needs to disappear and never be. And this guy needs to be arrested for sedition. He needs to be charged for sedition. This is pure evil.
If you think that these guys are just misleading, misunderstood, they're misinformed, these guys know how do you write this? I mean, fine, Ledge Research wrote this, fine. But it was his idea of what do we bring up? So how do we take somebody's guns away without having to actually even go through a judge to approve it? How do we get some random cop to be able to take somebody's gun away from him?
Yeah, and you know the saying, like, you don't want government to have any powers you don't want your ex-wife to have. This is it.
There you go.
Your ex-wife is concerned about you, right? So you shouldn't have guns.
Well, she has a concern because of the people that are in your home, so she can totally
she says.
pull that. Yeah.
So she says.
If you've got joint custody of children, it's really easy to make that case to the local police department, especially if you live in Salt Lake City or Park City or even Salt Lake County, where the county mayor has ended the ability to be able to have private gun sales at the gun shows. So, I mean, you've got this ridiculous. Even people say, "Well, this will never happen in Utah." You've got these Republican, quote unquote, senators coming up with this legislation.
No, this is how bad it is, folks. You need to get whatever freaking terrible person is your legislator. You need to get into the party and kick him out,
and not waiting for the general election, because the election's already over in most districts. You've in these districts, the other party, whatever the other party is doesn't even have a chance of winning. You've got to get them in the convention in advance. So like with the tax bill, with these gun bills, it's right now you've got to find somebody or run yourself. And then if you're running yourself, or if you found somebody that's running, you've got to help them collect delegates that will vote for them to get these guys out.
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous. This is unacceptable on any stretch of the imagination. There's no negotiation. There's no, let's work through this. They've shown themselves to be jackbooted thugs. You know how you can always tell. This is always the guy. If the guy has to tell you he's honest, he's dishonest. If the legislator has to say, "I'm not being a jackbooted thug," he's being a jackbooted thug.
It's like trying to explain away his thing, but it's legal. We have to sell all the data. It's like our last piece. Oh gosh,
we've got to start realizing the situation that we're in, and so that we can start taking appropriate action. And the first step especially with these guys, is to be able to get rid of them in the convention by getting these delegates to be able to get somebody running against them, and then getting delegates recruited to be able to do that. And then beyond that, here at Defending Utah, we're putting we don't want to put the cart before the horse. And a lot of times, we've got these fires out there, you got to put them out. But generally speaking, finding the right guy to get them elected is putting the cart before the horse. We've got to change the culture. The reason why Daniel Thatcher gets elected, the reason why Todd Weiler gets elected, is because the constituents in his district are either as corrupt as he is, or B, are completely ignorant. And so we've got to work together. This is what we're doing. Is we're building
most likely a mixture of the two.
The two. Yeah. And so we encourage you to join and become a member of Defending Utah, so we can help turn those the culture of these districts around, so that we can start building a culture of liberty that understands the principles of liberty, that understands that there's a conspiracy and how it is that they operate, so that we can thwart their efforts. And so please take this information so that you can now take appropriate action. We encourage you, please become a member of Defending Utah and help us to be able to restore a culture of liberty right here in Utah. We're defending Utah, meaning we're not defending the current status quo. We're not defending the laws that we have on the books. We're defending the culture that made Utah a place that everybody wanted to come to, and now these conspirators are changing it and taking it away from us. We've got to have a restoration of these principles, but we have to be actively involved and understand how it's being taken away from us. So with that, I'm Ben McClintock here in studio with Micah Turner.
It's true.
Until next time, go to defendingutah.org. This Defending Utah presentation brought to you in part by Anderson Accounting, andersonaccounting.com, Trust Plumbing, 801-808-5470, Higher Calling Firearms, highercallingfirearms.com, Pioneer Family Scholars, Black Lotus Web Dev, blacklotuswebdev.com, American Appliance at 801-254-2566, Shem Financial Services, 801-856-6151, and the law offices of Garrett T. Smith, 801-477-1570.
It's a fact. More photos of you are being taken than ever before. Are you ashamed of your smile? At last, a new technology that gives a brighter and healthier smile in under 2 hours. And it's fully warranted, so you'll never have to worry about your smile again. Call Dr. Jeremy Thompson at Thompson Dental, 801-254-0835, or visit GoNewSmile.com, and we'll show you how you can restore your faded, yellowed, or worn teeth without surgery, crowns, or implants. And it's backed by a 30-day, 100% satisfaction money-back guarantee. This scientific breakthrough will painlessly transform your appearance in one visit. The smile you've been waiting for will never cost less or look brighter than it will today. Call 801-254-0835 or visit GoNewSmile.com. That's GONU Smile.com to revitalize your smile. New smile. It looks good on you.